All right, am I talking to you? Are you a soon-to-be new real estate investor? Are you anxious, confused as to where to start? It feels overwhelming. How do I even get into it? Where do I get my first deal? How do I get the money? Well, this video is for you. A brief step-by-step of how to gain the confidence to get started on your real estate journey, whether it's flipping houses, buying a rental, or whatever it might be. This video is for you. So stay tuned and watch. We've all been there, especially if you've been investing for a while. Maybe you've been investing for a year or two. Maybe you've only done one deal. But at the core of it, we all started never having done a deal, not necessarily knowing what to do, being a little bit anxious about it, being nervous about it. So where do we start? How do we get going? How do we start momentum? And what are maybe some simple steps to follow to get into it? So this is what we're going to cover in this video. And we're going to start with the first step, which is I'm going to call motivation or learning. The second step is to be ruthlessly networking and searching for deals. The third step is to assemble a team. And the fourth step is to absolutely take action, whether it's imperfect or not right timing, but action is the ultimate final step and the most important step. But we're going to start it all over with step number one, which is the motivation. If you're watching this video, you're motivated and you're already doing what I'm recommending in step number one, which is trying to get educated. So first you got to find that motivation, that fire, that burning desire to get started in real estate, whether that's flipping or buying rentals or whatever. And if you're watching this, the reason you're doing it isn't just because it would be fun, is you want to make money. You want to build wealth. You either want to make short-term cash by flipping, or you want to make long-term wealth by buying and holding real estate in an appreciating market. So the only way to do that is to dive in and start learning. You're not going to know all of it. Sometimes you're going to hear something that's not going to make sense. You may have to hear it from multiple different people. Sometimes the way I say things may not resonate with you, but somebody else might do a video on the same thing and then you listen to it and it might make more sense the way someone else, or vice versa. But after you have that motivation, you got to start learning, whether that's podcasts like Bigger Pockets, YouTube channels like this. I'd recommend you go to local source of real estate knowledge, like your local board of realtors. If they're doing market updates, what's the market doing? What's pricing doing? What's supply and demand? Go to local real estate clubs. You really need to have that motivation to start learning. Don't wait for someone to teach you. There's plenty of courses you could buy or masterminds you could join. There's maybe a good, better, or best way to get started, but be curious. Buy books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Gary Keller has some great books, and we've talked about him in some of the other videos we've done. But start with your desire to learn and start absorbing any and all content that you can. Obviously, you want to make sure it's reliable and vet it a little bit, but your first step is motivation and a knowledge base, which you can continue to build on. You won't ever truly understand it until you do it, but be academic at first, start learning, start being aware of real estate terms, lingo, financing, all that stuff that's going to come into play. So that will then give you confidence to keep going up the ladder and taking action on your next steps. So the next step, I would say, after your desire to learn, is to network. And this would also cover learning too, because you're going to start going to meetups. You're going to start going to local real estate clubs. You're going to go to maybe, city commerce, wherever you can find where people are talking about real estate and doing deals, that's where you need to be. Maybe it's getting your real estate license and being around other agents. It's, maybe online communities. It's anywhere where you can network, because the reason you're going to network is not only to learn, like in step one, but you're going to get resources from other people and you're going to provide resources to them. You always got to add value, and there's a little bit of give and take. You can't just be a taker. So once you're eager to learn and you're networking, you got to figure out a way to also provide value to someone else. And that may just simply be saying thank you and acknowledging their time and being grateful that someone's willing to share with you. But I can't tell you how much I've benefited from networking. I've partnered with people on deals. I've raised money from people. I've found deals. I've avoided pitfalls from listening to somebody else and networking. I've maybe picked up a really good title company or a long-term lender. All of this comes from networking. So, outside of that motivation and learning, your next step is 100% networking. There's that old saying, your net worth is your network, and that could not be more true. You're going to have a mentor, that's part of networking. Find somebody that's done what you're doing and see if you can follow along and have them take you under your wing. But none of that happens by sitting back and just hoping someone will call you to teach you what to do about real estate investing. Is you got to dive right in, learn, and then start networking so you can find the right who's to help you in your journey. Step number 3, it's adding on to the networking. Once you've networked and you understand who the people are around you that you're going to need, then you need to build a team. And some of the team players could interchange from deal to deal, or you're not necessarily married to this team forever. And maybe you do, when I'm talking about a team, I'm talking about, where's your financing coming from? We talked in a video before about your hard money lender. Maybe you need gap money. You're obviously going to need a team to rehab the properties. You're going to need a real estate agent team if you're not one already. You're going to need a title company team if you don't have one already. You're going to need suppliers that I would call part of your team. Where, like the Home Depots, the Lowe's, the Bed Bath & Beyond, or the Floor & Decor, whatever it is. Like, in my mind, these are all your teammates that you're going to have on your journey. But probably the one that, I see most people start with is maybe they have a partner because they're new to it, or maybe they're working with a mentor. I would consider that part of your team. And then all those other, third-party people, they're going to need to be part. The other part of your team, honestly, is you need product. So, think of the houses that you're going to buy or the apartments that you're going to buy. Those are part of your team, because your team is additional resources in addition to you, whether they're human capital or monetary capital. Those are all part of your team as well. Like when I say the house or the apartment or the rental might be a part of your team, after you've owned some of this stuff for quite a while, like I have a couple rentals I'm selling now, and I'm so glad those rentals are part of my team, because when I sell those, then that money will come about from that teamwork, and I'll be able to put something to use and enjoy that and then compound it. And just like human capital, I can't tell you how important team members are. My contractor or Maria, like without them, I wouldn't be able to do most of the deals I do. And so that's why having a team is so important. But how did I find that team? It goes back to step number 2. It goes back to networking. I was at networking events. I met people. They introduced me to people. I followed up. And then we developed more of a close relationship, as a team. Okay, so that brings up point number 4, which the reality is if you get through steps number 1, 2, and 3, of the desire to learn, networking, and then formally building your team, you're already taking action. But the next step to actually get your next deal is you got to go out on that limb, or your first deal. You got to make offers. You got to take action. You got to commit to get into a deal. And it's not going to be perfect. You're always going to be nervous. You're always maybe going to be questioning, man, should I have done that? So you got to kind of have a gut check here, check your risk profile. But if you've come this far, your next step is continuing to take action, build upon the learning, build upon the networking, build upon the team that you're forming, and then take action and jump into that deal with the best information and analysis you have at the time. And I'm not saying hit and hope it works out, but I am really glad the first flip I ever did made money, because that gave me the confidence to keep doing more and more and more. And so you'll see this, you're going to build confidence. It might be unsure at the start, but the more that you're curious, you learn, you network from others, learn from others, build a team, and continue to take action, and then learn from all of these steps, you will keep becoming more and more successful. And before long, you'll be like, wow, why did I ever think that I couldn't do it? And then you'll just be stretching for, bigger deals or more deals, or you'll be smarter about them. Your profit margins will get bigger, and it'll be really exciting. So get out there and do it. And thanks for watching. So if you're ready to start and you've been motivated by this video, all I want you to do is DM, I'm getting started, I'm finding my first deal, and then let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching.